Hello, everybody. How are you? We are back once again with our strategic affairs expert, Colonel Alice Bist. And today we are going to discuss on the emerging new world order. In fact, events have been developing very fast, very, very fast, too fast for our liking, actually. Trends have been changing, relationships mm, uh, have been evolving. In fact, just now as we are talking, we see the Iranian president landing in Pakistan for discussions. This after the Pakistani support to the Americans during the short war bombing which Iran faced from the US Israel combined. But what we are going to emphasize today is on the India's relations with the USA and the new emerging world order and US diktats to India over the trade deal. As you all know, the US has already announced some tariffs on India, how that will affect our economy, and how and the way forward. Hi, Colonel Best. We're really looking forward to hearing your views on the emerging new world order and what to our
Hi
viewers.
Rajiv.
Hi, and what to our viewers before we proceed. Do keep our channel hitting the like and share button of our channel. Do keep commenting on the content that we put out so that we extend the reach of the channel. Janet is your channel and your voice. Well, Colonel Best, what is this new world order that we see evolving and there's a lot of discussion going on? How do you view this new world order?
Well, Rajiv, as we all know, in 1990s there was a unipolar world order, and this word "new world order" was first used by George H. W. Bush, wherein he said that this is the new world order, and it was a unipolar order, and it functioned quite well. But of late, especially after the COVID era, and then Russia-Ukraine war, and then war in the Middle East between Iran, Israel, and Israel tackling all the militant or terrorist groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis. So suddenly you find that there is a paradigm shift, and Op Sindoor also contributed to this new world order. Why I am relating it to all the wars? Primarily because you see, the world order always changes after a major war or a major event in the world. The World War II ushered in an era wherein they said that it's a new world order, and world bodies like the United Nations, IMF, World Bank, World Health Organization, World Trade Organization, all these came into fore. But suddenly, in past few years, rather past 3 4 years, we have found that that old order is being challenged, and since there is a backdrop, so wars like World War II cannot take place. So you will find that smaller conflicts are taking place all across the globe. And you see, it started with Russia-Ukraine war, and suddenly it shifted to the Middle East. Then it shifted to India, Pakistan, and finally we find that it is proliferating further east to Cambodia, uh, Thailand, and it may go over to China, Taiwan also, because the kind of pressures which the world is facing, especially after the President Donald Trump's announcement of executive orders implementing tariffs all across the globe, whether they are the American allies, or whether they are simply trading partners. So there's a lot of turmoil going on, and both economic as well as military. These are certain issues joined at the hip. Both economic and military factors determine the world order. So, as you said, that what is the new world order coming? I would say that there are three or four major players right now, out of which the United States leading the Western model is there. And then there is Russia, who has been challenged by the West and supported by China, and indirectly supported by India as well. It's not exactly support, but we have got a very deep relationship which manifests into arms trade and also oil imports from Russia. So, on the other side, it can be very well said that Russia, China, and India are another pole in this multipolar world order which is emerging. The global south is very keenly looking on as to how things are manifesting out. And European Union and the NATO also is under tremendous amount of stress because the old world order, which was being uh, run by the United States, is under severe stress. One, because of US uh, own economic condition, their trade deficit, the colossal amount of uh, debt they have incurred, almost 36 trillion, which is becoming unbearable. And especially the sanctions on Russia, wherein the energy securities across the world is getting disturbed. So EU is under stress and EU may break down. So the world order will be decided. Uh, uh, you will be surprised that it will be decided by a country which is acting like pivot. Not difficult to understand. It is India. If India moves towards the west, the Western bloc becomes very strong. If it moves towards Russia and China, uh, that becomes very strong. So it is up to India, and India is trying to find a middle path, but President Donald Trump and the West at large are making things very clear. Either you are with us or you are against us. So it is their old strategy. They have divided the world according to their preferences, wherein they support one section of the world and they oppose the other section of the world, which really gives them the leverage to sell arms, to have trade, to have a common currency. Whoever goes so against it, they destroy that particular country and the leader who is running that country. Rajiv.
Well, two countries which are being seen as competitors to the global hegemony, the USA claims or sees itself as having Brazil and India. They are seen as two rising nations, two emerging powers, and both these powers are a part of BRICS. And we had the last BRICS summit at Brazil, which of course was not attended by China as well as Russia, both because of their own internal compulsions. Well, before we go deeper into the new world order emerging, how do you see the importance of BRICS in the coming years? For India, of course, BRIC remains an important bargaining chip. India is a valued member of BRICS. We need BRICS to assert our strategic independence. How do you see BRICS evolving in the next few years?
BRICS is going to be a major challenger to the United States. If you see in exactly after the World War II, they had a Bretton Woods agreement in which the pound gave in place to the US dollar as the US world reserve currency. And in 71, President Nixon was the one who introduced the petrodollars. So USA has been defending that petrodollars in a very, very iron grip. So whoever went against it, they just simply destroyed, like Muammar Gaddafi of Libya or Saddam Hussein of Iran or whosoever tried ever. Uh, Going against the petrodollar. Petrodollar is nothing like Saudi Arabia enables oil trade only in US dollars. And whatever US dollars Saudi Arabia earns, he reinvests those dollars, the US dollars, into treasury bonds of the US. So it is win-win situation for the United States. They just keep simply printing US dollars, like just 17 cents are expended in uh, printing $100 note or bill, as you call it in USA. So they keep printing, they keep issuing it, and they get the best from the world as imports by simply issuing dollars. And countries who are energy dependent, they have to earn their dollars. I am repeating, United States used to print dollars, and countries like India, China, China used to manufacture a lot of goods and export it to USA. EU, major players like uh, Germany, France, UK, Japan, all these countries are manufacturing hubs, including China, of course, which is the biggest manufacturing world country. So they used to manufacture goods and send the best things to the US, and the US issued them dollars, and they used to purchase oil from various places through dollars. And actually, entire world trade was at one stage of time dealing with 80% of trade in US dollars at one stage of time. Later on, when the EU was formed, they started challenging the US dollars. Both of them are fiat currencies. Fiat currencies means they are backed by nothing. They are backed by nothing. They are just piece of papers. So fiat currencies have got no value uh, except for their utility in buying oil and doing trade. Now, you asked me that why is BRICS important? If we see today that BRICS was originally started by five countries, or rather four countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and later on South Africa. So five countries in all. And now it has expanded to include very important countries like Saudi Arabia and other very rich countries, Argentina, and number of other people are trying to offset the Western economic model. So these all are trying to come into BRICS, but they are all very afraid of the United States of America. So BRICS, now we are at a point of inflection. You must understand that uh, either the US wins this particular trade war or the BRICS nation wins it. If suppose India joins the BRICS or keeps on importing oil from Russia, now this section becomes very strong. The BRICS becomes very strong. There is a separate system within Russia which can compete with the SWIFT system of the West. SWIFT is nothing. SWIFT is a messaging system, something like what we do in India. You ask what is your account number, and you also ask for IFSC code. That IFSC code actually is a messaging system which says, okay, so much of um, rupees have been transferred from one account to the other. Likewise, SWIFT is a system which enables messaging from one account to the another account amongst the various countries. So, actually speaking, they are trying to make a BRICS bridge, which is based on Bank of International Settlements. Like basically, it was a M bridge at one particular stage. Then it became it is almost on the verge of becoming a BRICS bridge. So it will be a messaging system which can very easily replace the United States or West model of SWIFT system. Now, problem is that America has really pushed people to the wall. Had they been slightly understanding and gradual in their process, the system would have continued. But what has happened that these ad hoc tariffs and then sanctions have pushed people to the wall. And if suppose India joins the BRICS nation in making a separate currency or a separate system, trade is already being done in ruble, rupee, ruble, yuan, rupee, dirham. So free trade agreements are already happening. Earlier, they used to go via American bank to from one country to the another. A free trade agreement is already happening. Now, if they make a M bridge or a BRICS bridge or an alternative system to the SWIFT, the entire Western system collapses. That is the start of de-dollarization. You will be surprised that there is some kind of activity which is going on in the Central Asia, wherein they are trying to make Kazakhstan also uh, a party to it, cut off oil supplies, and there are a lot of pipelines which are supplying towards Europe. The moment this happens, petrodollar dies. So that will, of course, bring in war because US has already started wooing Turkmenistan and Azerbaijan primarily to isolate Iran. They have already isolated Iran from Afghanistan side, from Pakistan side, from the Arabian Sea, and they are trying some angle because Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan are having some kind of a border with Iran. So you can see that uh, America is playing its game, the Eastern Bloc is playing its game, and it may happen that an alternate currency system comes in. If you will allow me at a later stage, I can tell you about the stable coin system which the Americans are trying to bring in. And there is a lot of activity which is going on, which is nothing but a uh, uh, central bank digital currency, which will be linked to the US dollars. So they are trying to pressurize all their trading partner to go into stable coin operations, which in a way they will try and address their huge debt problem. So these are the factors. BRICS, once that economic tie-up comes in, then the military tie-ups or military alliances are going to be a natural fallout. So it BRICS would be a very, very important factor. If India joins that side becomes more important because the combined GDP may be even more than your G7 countries. Rajiv.
Then this de-dollarization program, as we may call it, I have a feeling that it's inevitable. It's only a question of time. In fact, they should have received a fillip had Russia not got embroiled in the Ukraine war and they got stuck in the Ukraine war, which limits Putin's ability to take some critical decisions. But then it will definitely going to come, and the way America is going in to tackle this problem as of now through a series of bullying tactics, trying to bulldoze their way through, telling countries to get into trade agreements. That's not going to last. It's a question of time. Maybe in another 30 years' time, we may see China, of course, is struggling as of now, but we may see a stronger China emerging in another 3 decades' time after they settle with all their internal problems. India is, of course, doing well. India's emerging as a single bright point. Brazil, of course, is there. We may see the dollarization program going full steam ahead. But now let's come to the Indo-US trade deal per se. As reports indicate, the Indian side has been very tough, has been involved in some very tough negotiations. They have refused to give away Indian interests, especially in the agricultural sector and the dairy sector. And for that, of course, the government of India deserves the fullest of credit. How do you see the trade negotiations going on, and do you see Trump's announcement of the 25% tariff on India as his frustration rather than anything else? His frustration with the Indian side over their refusal to buckle down under his pressure.
Yes, India-US trade negotiations are very much on. Previous talks have failed. Probably they are going to have further talks on 25th of August this year, which is hardly a few days, a few weeks, 2, 3 weeks away. And they have also extended the imposition of 25% tariffs uh, up till 7th of August. So, yes, very much it is on the cards. And as you said, that there is some kind of frustration. The frustration is stemming from a number of things because you see, it's just not the trade deals as such. The tariffs US government is applying across the globe, whether it is their closest of allies, somewhere around 10% has been imposed on everybody, including their closest of allies like UK, France, uh, Germany, Japan, and a lot of other countries. The Swiss people were shocked that their tariffs were increased up to 39%. And Pakistan, who were thinking that they are very close to the US, were also imposed 19% tariffs. So it is somewhat funny, you see. But I went into some amount of details, looking at how and what mechanism these people are following in imposition of the tariffs. I found that they are following some computerized algorithm for imposition of tariffs. Computerized imposition by means of some algorithms which was developed by a university in America. So it is like childish, and
Hmm.
everybody in the world is not able to make out what is the logic which these people are applying to it.
Yeah, but then Trump was never a
So
logical person. He has always been very whimsical in his approach. Do you see a rollback of the tariffs? And maybe one fine day he wakes up in the morning and decides that no, no, we have to do business with India.
yes, they are basically trying to pressurize you. They are trying to pressurize you prior to making a trade deal. And there will be a rollback, I'm pretty sure about it. It cannot go on like that because India is just too important a nation wherein you cannot impose tariffs and uh, make India go away from you. Because what will happen to I2, U2, what will happen to Quad, what will happen to Indo-Pacific? The USA needs India more than India needs them. And if you see that the kind of trade which we are having with the US is minimal, it's only hardly 1 or 2% of our trade, and majority of it being pharmaceuticals, textiles. Pharma is generic medicines. We are giving them medicines at one tenth the cost of the medicines in of the branded American manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. So poor American would suffer if they impose these kind of tariffs. And tariffs actually would be taken out from the pockets of the public of the United States. Those people are going to eventually pay because who will pay these tariffs? The importers are going to take it and dump it on the public. Now,
Buyers.
if you see yeah, the buyers. Uh, Actually, what is happening is they impose somewhere around 35% tariffs on Canada. Now, Canada was a free trade zone. Now, what they have done is they've imposed some kind of tariffs on the Canadians, and the customs at the US Canada border, they are rejecting all the American goods. So, what is happening is that a lot of goods are going back to America. And once these companies are receiving that perishable goods, especially, they are giving it to the supermarkets at very concessional rates. So the supermarkets are getting a lot of concessional perishable goods. Americans are buying them. But eventually, what is happening is the farmers are losing out on their profits, the supermarkets are losing out on their profits, and eventually, in the long run, Americans will find that their GDPs will also fall down. So this is very bad for America, actually speaking. And India, it won't affect much because what US is getting from India is uh, some gems and jewelry, and then some amount of refined oil, mineral oils, then some amount of crude oils, and some amount of textile apart from this thing. So even if we don't do any trade with USA, hardly 130 billion, uh, we won't be very badly affected because what will happen is we have to diversify. Actually, if you see, the entire world trade is around 27 trillion, and we are having a very minuscule amount of trade. Uh, it actually is 17% of our GDP. But if we stop it from USA, we can have a number of other buyers within the global south. And there are a number of people who are going to have one-to-one free trade agreement with India, in which uh, almost 98% of the market is open to us. So it is not United States alone. Unfortunately, there is a very uh, colonial set of mindset amongst our exporters, wherein you will see they will produce very good quality goods for export to only the United States and the EU. And there's a general feeling that if you have a good photograph with the US importers and EU importers, people get impressed. But it is actually other way around. 98% of the world market is open for us.
Yeah.
And of late, I have found almost 94 odd countries have gone into some kind of agreement with India. The ASEAN countries are opening up, wherein 90% of their import duties we have uh, abrogated. 99% of our tariffs have been abrogated by ASEAN countries. So ASEAN is one, Middle East is one, then South America is one, and number of EU countries like UK. Recently, UK is of course out of EU, but number of EU countries are in the pipeline who are going to be uh, in trade agreement with India. In fact,
Recently, I have seen some reports wherein the US Commerce Secretary had expressed his deep frustration with the Indian negotiators. In fact, probably he went and told briefed President Trump about the troubles the USA is having with the Indian negotiators. And Piyush Goyal is a very hard negotiator himself. He's a man of facts and figures. He's got all the statistics on his fingertips. He's a CA by profession. He's done a wonderful job protecting our interests in these negotiations. Actually, Trump wanted that big, beautiful trade deal before he arrives in India for the Quad meeting. Well, do you see any changes in the Quad meeting wherein Trump is proposed to visit India, or any effect of this recent turbulences in the relationships?
yes, actually speaking, the Quad meeting will only take place once we are through with the trade deal. Now, you see how closely the trade deal and the military aspects are combined together. These are two things, two faces of the same coin. So, unless the trade deal goes on, the military alliance would not fructify. Now, Quad, the US is trying to get India into a trade deal wherein we open our agriculture and dairy sector. Now, in that agriculture and dairy sector, they want to sell us soybeans, corn, which are genetically modified, and we don't want that thing to come in into India. Then in the dairy sector, they want milk products which are actually not in consonance with our own eating habits, because they feed lot of animal byproducts to their cattle, and it is actually a non-vegetarian milk which you are getting, not only by means of feed, but also to thicken it or make it more fat oriented. They mix animal fat into it. So those products, because of religious sentiments or because India is largely vegetarian, it will not fructify in India. For that matter, even in Pakistan, because they are not pressurizing them to open their. Pakistan is fifth largest country in the world, but can America force them to get their dairy and agriculture products? They will say no, because it has to be halal. So will America produce halal foods? I don't think so. So primarily they are cozying up to Pakistan, but it will not function. Firstly, Chinese burnt their hands by getting into CPEC. Now Americans again will burn their hands, because once you get access and give them some free hand, they will create another 9/11 there. So we are also waiting. You go in and do it with them. So primarily, they are trying to force you in such trade deal wherein not only you get your dairy and agricultural products, but they are trying to sell in apples. They are trying to sell uh, dry fruits and such things. So we have said okay for the dry fruits and apple, but corn and other things we can't let it come
No,
in
we don't
inside
need,
India.
actually, we are agriculture surplus nation, food surplus nation. We don't need American products, which will have a burgeoning effect on the prices, again, lead to inflation. Our farmers will suffer. Well, continuing
Yes.
from here, there's this point wherein we saw President Trump's statement yesterday that India has reduced its dependence on Russian oil. My feeling goes that India follows a policy of nation first and our national interest first. It is basically the cutting down of Russian subsidies on their oil that has made India cut down its imports of Russian oil. Not exactly cut down, but for a lowering the imports, we are getting our, we have got our supply sources diversified. Well, how do you see India-Russia relations moving from here? Do you see President Putin's visit, which has been long overdue to India, coming about? And in the backdrop, in the backdrop of that visit, the SU proposed SU-57 deal. Anything on that?
Yes, India-Russia deal is far more important than India-US deal. Although we would like to tread the middle path, but you see, India-Russia deal is good for the world. Actually speaking, we have got 65% of our armaments and arms from Russia. Now, we can't sever our ties from whom we are having 65% of our arms. Number one. And number two, like Russia has been an old friend, whether it was 1971 when the Seventh Fleet of the United States of America was threatening us, nuclear bombs. They were threatening us of nuking India. It was the Russian submarines which came in and then stopped the Americans further on their track. Now you have got Su-30s with you. We are making them in HAL Bengaluru, HAL Nashik. Uh, we have integrated a lot of our own AESA radar, our own tracking system, our own weapon systems into it, Astra, which we call, and a number of other things like Su-30s have got BrahMos fitted onto them. So we have got the algorithm, we've got the source code. We can modify them according to our needs, and the Su-30 MKI is Super Su-30. So now you know we are accustomed towards Russian equipment. Uh, so talking about the arms, Su-57 is far more logical than F-35. Su-57, they are ready to co-produce with us. They are going into co-production of BrahMos 2, which is 2,000 kilometers range. So BrahMos 2 is is a hypersonic missile which nobody in the world can intercept. 2,000 kilometers. This normal BrahMos played havoc in off Sindoor. There was no system in the world which could stop it. So can anybody stop BrahMos 2? So US is unreliable partner as far as arms deals are concerned. Your G404 engine for Tejas, it never materialized. Then your attack hapters, Apache or whatever it was, they never materialized. So can you depend on a nation which changes its policy vis-a-vis another nation within 24 hours, within 2 hours, within 1 hour? So Russia is a time-tested uh, military partner as far as we are concerned. And of late, like they have also said that they will be easing visa for almost 10 lakh Indians to go, technicians, engineers, other people to go and produce arms and weapon systems in Russia. So when you have got such close ties and they are giving you oil at subsidized rates, imagine if we stop buying Russian oil, the cost of oil in international market was just shoot up. It will shoot up so much that it will become $120 per barrel, and the entire world economic system would collapse. For the entire world, Indo Russian oil trade must go on. Today, we are supplying it to USA, we are supplying it to European Union, we are supplying it to entire world after refining that oil.
Well, we are coming towards the
So,
back end of our program. Before we end, we would like you to briefly touch upon Trump's recent comments about massive oil reserves in Pakistan, and his dream that someday Pakistan is going to export oil to India. I'd like to hear your views briefly. Before we hear you, I'd once again like to request our viewers to please like and subscribe our channel, extend our reach. Well, Kalbist, yeah,
uh,
briefly. Hmm.
I think our daily consumption is around 4.8 million barrels a day, and max production which can be done from Baluchistan oil field somewhere which is not yet even explored is 300 million barrels. So it is peanuts. We have struck oil in Andaman region which is 200 billion barrels. So making such statements is funny actually. It makes no sense. Just makes no sense.
Thank you so much, Colonel Best, for your views on the emerging new world order. It's a vast subject. We'd like to come back and have one more round on this particular topic so that we can even touch upon China and Brazil in the future, maybe another episode down the line. Thank you so much for all our viewers for tuning in.
Thank you, Anjay.
Okay.